I'm curious, when you signed with your agent, were there any like big changes that she wanted you to make? Like, were there any big revisions you guys did before you went out on submission?
We did one round, and it was mostly just sort of, you know, amping up certain parts of it, and just making one particular character, just making her sort of her motivations clearer. But no, yeah, I didn't have, thank goodness she didn't make me rewrite it from page one. But yeah, she was just sort of, I would say, tweaking edits rather than big major revisions. Yeah.
So, oh, Carol, go ahead.
Are you already on submission right now? Or is that the stage you're at right now?
Yeah.
How long has it been out for submission?
Well, it went on out on submission about 2 weeks before we locked down.
Oh
So,
gosh.
2 weeks before. Yeah, so it went
That's
out in sort of the end of February. So yeah.
So it's probably going to be fall
ideal.
before anything happens. Like they all just kind of scattered. Like
yeah, and that I think that was the thing that surprised me. I mean, it's a strange time right now, so it's not not typical, but just how long it takes. You think like finding an agent takes forever, and then think, all right, that's it now. I'm on the way, but no, everything is very slow.
And then they buy it, and it's 18 months. It's like, by the time it comes out, it's like way old news. Like,
yeah.
I have to say that us picture book writers, we listen to these novelists complain about 18 months, and we're like, are you guys out of your mind? It takes 4 or 5 years, with a picture book. Sometimes it takes 9 years. So the one that took the longest for me took 9 years. So yes, 18 months. I remember the first time I met Michael Lucas, he was saying, oh yeah, I just got a book published. It took so long. I said, how long did it take? And he said, oh, well, it took 5 months from when it was first submitted. I thought, oh my God, you're kidding. It's the pace is so much faster in novels. In fact, it's so fast that it scares me. And Lisa, I want to ask you this. It's like, the pace is so fast. When you self-publish to your own schedule. Are you actually conversely and ironically a little afraid that you're going to pick up this mainstream publisher because there might be that to maybe even a 3-book deal, and all of a sudden they want you to hit all the marketing dates, and obviously from a marketing standpoint, the closer you can put your books together, the better it is. But does that, with your kind of greater awareness of how the business works, does that lurk out as a downside?
Well, I mean, it's been 3 years since the last book came out now. And had I chosen to self-publish the third one, I probably would have got that out at the end of last year. And so, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I've done this work, I've built this platform, I have a readership and a mailing list and all this good stuff you're supposed to do, and I have nothing to tell my newsletter subscribers. I have no news, I have no new book. So yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, can we move this along a bit, because these people aren't going to wait forever. Yeah, I mean, that definitely has crossed my mind. And the other thing that I've honestly found is, and I know that some of you are in a group with me, and that this project leaping that I've been doing this year is, I've been able to write the books I want to write and publish them and find a readership for them. And now, because this book is sort of in limbo, I don't know what my next book is going to be. I don't know if that will be the next book. It might not sell, might be another book. And so I've got all these ideas, and the next book I should write kind of depends on the next book I publish. And so because of that, I've been kind of stalled and sort of hopping from project to project, trying to figure out, what I should be writing next. So although it's a really great thing and I'm excited about it, it's actually been a little bit debilitating from a creative point of view. So I'm really having to make myself step back and try not to think about that and just focus on finishing a project. But you can't help but think about that, because I don't write in a very clear genre or something that would be a series where the next book is going to be really obvious. Because right now, and those of you who are in the group with me, I'm writing a YA historical, which is not like any of the other books that I've written. They're all contemporary. So yeah.
So
So that
did your agent discuss like publishing strategy with you? Did she, so to start off with, did she ask what was in your drawer? Like whether you had other books in the
she
works?
did. Yeah, she did. And one of the things she said quite honestly was, I think a YA historical is going to be a hard sell. She didn't say no, she just said, I think it's going to be a hard sell. But you know where I am on that book. I'm already well into it. It's a book that I really want to write, but now it's sort of like, well, should I put, because I'm at the stage right now where I've got a solid draft, but I need to go in and do that big heavy lifting revision to get it where it wants to be. And it's like, well, if she's not gonna, if she's not going to try and sell that book, do I write it? Do I abandon it? Do I self-publish it? I don't know.
Was there anything in the drawer that she said, oh, but that one sounds really interesting? Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, we had an amazing discussion of, all the sort of center all my ideas, and we went through them and picked out several. But where my heart is and where the next logical book, if this book sells, are not necessarily the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, this book might not sell, and then we're back to, okay, so what might sell? What are my ideas? Which of these ideas has the best chance? Mm-hmm. So yeah,
that's a problem. It's a nice problem though, but it's definitely
it's just a different problem.
Carol, you have your hand up.
So I'm asking this on behalf of a friend of mine, and anyone can answer. She's written a book that's based on her own experiences during the Cultural Revolution in China. And when she went through it, she was 15. So the book is about a 15-year-old girl being in school and all that. The thing is, she sends this out and she gets the constant comment that this is a YA and I don't do YA, this kind of thing. But the thing is, it's dealing with very heavy topics. And she never thought of it as a YA. She thought of it as more like about herself and her family. What should she do? I mean, she's asked me, I have no idea what she should do, and she doesn't want to change that character because it's kind of her.
So I have a strong opinion on this. So there's a book out there right now. I don't know whether your friends read it. It's called How Much of These Hills is Gold? Mm-hmm. And it's right now, it's a very, very big book. It's getting big reviews, big accolades. It's a very difficult to read book. Very innovatively written, but very, very difficult to read because the content, like the narrative, is so distressing. But it features an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old. The protagonists start out as 11 and 12 at the beginning. And at the end, when we leave them, they're only 17 and 16, I believe. So by their ages, they should definitely fall into the YA category. But it's not, it hasn't been marketed as such. It definitely isn't such a book. And actually, because I've been looking for comps for my own novel, I've come across a whole spate of books. The Roundhouse, which is Louise Erdrich's novel, National Book Award winning novel, it features a 13-year-old boy as the main protagonist, also not classified as YA. And when you read these books, they don't sound like YA. They don't feel like YA. It's not even the content. It's just like how the language, the tone, the So I'm wondering, without having seen her work, it's either one of two things. Either she's putting it in front of kind of lazy agents who aren't like giving it a full read, and that happens often because a lot of them use readers, and so readers might just come back and say it's about a 13-year-old kid or whatever, and then that's the end of the story. Or it might be that there's something in her tone that could be adjusted to give her a wider gap between YA and, you know, how she's being perceived and how she wants to be perceived. But there are definitely a lot of books out there that Celestine's All the Lies I Told You, or I can't get the name of her book right. But also that's a young child. I think she's actually 8, and her sister, who who dies in the beginning of the book, is I think 15 or 16. But again, all these books are not marketed as Michael David Lucas's books. First one was a very young female. I think she might have been 11 or 12, and the second one was a 18-year-old boy, I think, something like that, but again, not YA. So the agents who can recognize it, and the publishers who can recognize it, and the audience in the end who can recognize it, those are all there. She just needs to get through that first step, get to the right agent, or get to the agent with a book that has the right tone.
That's good to know.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I was going to add also Where the Crawdads Sing, which is like the #1 best-selling adult book right now, starts with a child and then ends with like her being in high school. I think what I've seen for a lot of adult books that have teen protagonists is they'll sometimes do a time jump too. So if you have like the adult protagonist talking in their adult life and then you flash back to their teen self, even if most of the book is in those flashbacks, just the fact that it's framed with that adult voice makes it feel a little bit older. I was thinking of like My Dark Vanessa that just came out this year has that, or The Girls. There's a bunch of them like that where you're spending most of the time in the child point of view. So she could do something like that if she was interested.
And, you know, the YA genre is fairly new, is my understanding. Like, I was surprised. Like, I have always taken it for granted that like the age of the main character didn't dictate the genre of a book. I was surprised to find that people think the opposite. It's just, you know, there's just a huge long history of book. Like, think about To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, I know children read it now, but it's an adult novel. It just goes way back. So.
Well, Adlita's book too is clearly adult, even though it has teen characters.
But yeah, I mean, I to be fair, I think I am working out my tone a bit, but I have had a lot of people go, oh, this must be YA, and I'm sort of surprised because in my mind it's not at all.
I was going to suggest to Carol that she might look at, because there are a lot of YA agents who also represent adults and vice versa, because there's a lot of crossover readers with YA. And 50%, statistically 50% of adult readers read YA. So she might want to just look for an agent who represents both. She'll find a lot of them out there.
Okay, I want to take one little pause here, everyone. I just want to thank Lisa, and then we can continue with our discussion, but I want to switch the recording off and have these like huge videos up on YouTube. So thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you for inviting me.